working with creative or multiply shadows. Embrace shadows, because when you are on a very boring location, like a parking lot or a room with only a white wall, don't be afraid of shadows. Don't be afraid of being boring. Get creative. Embrace the shadows and create with only one speed light or multiply lights a creative shadow, a multiply shadow. In this lesson, I will teach you and show you how you can be creative with shadows in super boring situations. And we begin with the first example, and that is this one. This one I took a few years ago, and what we did was using 3 lights. One boring flat key light for lit this couple, and we used one speed light from the left, a speed light from the right for creating this multiply shadow effect. Very simple. And if you want to train yourself, use instead of speed lights, use some LED lights. But be aware that you have to use zoom LED lights. If you use LED lights like LED panels, it won't work. You need a LED light where you can zoom your light like a flashlight. And when you can zoom that light, you can create very hard shadow light. It's a small light source, and a small light source creates a hard shadow. And when you combine those 3 or more lights, you can create images like this, or an image like that. In this image, it also was in a parking lot. We use multiply LED lights for creating shadow effects on the wall. You see 1, 2, 3 different shadows. And what we also did was using an iPhone for creating a creative reflection at the left. And in the last lesson, we teach you how you can create reflection with an iPhone or other stuff like a prism or a mirror. But in this case, we used an iPhone at this line for creating this reflection, and we use multiply LED lights for creating all those shadows. Also, a multiply shadow effect is this one. It's not rocket science, it's not the best image because the light, the shadow fall was not very good, but it's an example how you can be creative with multiply lights. And if you are a little bit more specific for the shadows, you can create a very creative image with shadows. But in this case, we only use 2 lights. For a better result, we had to use 3 lights, and the 3rd light would be then a flat light for all those ugly shadows here. But again, it's only an example for how you can create multiplied shadows very fast and awesome in a very boring room or environment. Also, the next one is the same sort effect. Only 1 light from the left. We placed the groom before that light. That creates a large shadow because he is the distance between the light from the groom to the light is smaller than the distance from the bride to the light, and that creates a large groom on the wall, and the same light lit the bride and gives the shadow at the wall from behind the bride. So you can create those kind of images only with one speed light or one LED zoom light. Easy, awesome and fast, like Magmod. Oh, and also if you use a color gel before your light, you create a color light effect. So you can combine multiplied shadows also with color effects. Also in this one, if you use multiply colors on your multiply lights, you create very nice color effects. Next one, also 2 speed lights. And if you count shadows, 3 speed lights, sorry, 3 lights. You can count the shadows. It's 1, 2, 3. So multiply speed lights for creating a creative shadow effect on the concrete wall behind the bride and groom. Also a shadow effect with only one light. In this case we used a dado light, the Ledzilla. I think that's this one, and this is a very good zoom LED light. You can zoom this light so you can create your own shadow and you can create your own width of light. And for this effect we only post the bride before a white wall in the studio. And what we did, we lit her from the left with a few degrees to the camera, and that creates the shadow, but also this shadow effect on the wall. So we have a shadow from the bride on the wall, but we also have a shadow on the wall where we post the bride in front. So you have 2 creative shadows with only one light. Super simple, super easy. The only thing you have to do is turn this light to the left, pose your bride a little bit better, and be aware that this shadow will be around here and the shadow from the bride will be there. And the advantage of LED lighting is that you can see what you can do. With a speed light you always have to look at the back of your camera. But with a LED light you always see what you are doing. So when you are creating shadow effects, practice with LED lights like that. Another effect is this one. For this one we use a 2 light setup. A split light for the bride and a shadow light for the groom. The groom was standing in front of the LED light. Or in this case it was a speed light. Yes, it was a speed light, the Profoto A10. And we lit the bride with the Profoto A10 with the Magritte on it. And we blend them together in one click. So we moved the bride into the shadow of the groom, and that creates this effect. So you can really be creative with 1, 2 or 3 lights. And the only thing you need is a boring room. Like that. of course, we edited this line in the wall in Photoshop, but this one was really one click. Also this one. For this one, we used two lights. And for creating this effect, the white wall and the black wall, we used a V-flat. And the V-flat has a white side and a black side. And when you pose your model before a V-flat, we have a black wall from behind. We use the white V-flat exactly in the middle of the model, and we lit this white V-flat with this speedlight, the A10 with a max flare, so it will lit the V-flat a beautiful white lightning on it, and the background stayed black because we used a softbox for creating a little bit Rembrandt effect from a short distance and a short light setup. So the light didn't touch the black background. The next image is a little bit difficult because in the next image we created with a blue gel a red shadow, and with a red gel we create a blue shadow. And we did that because the red and the blue are the opposite colors in the color wheel, like this. Because they are the opposite color, you can create a very creative color effect with shadows. We did that also a time ago with multiply color gels, the RGB, but in this case we only use a red gel and a blue gel. We used the blue gel from the right, we used the red gel from the left. This is the setup. You see here the red gel, we see the blue gel, and you also see an ugly, boring environment. But in that environment we created this photo. And because the blue and the red are the opposite colors, you can create these very nice color shadow effects. Be aware, you have to edit this image a lot in Lightroom because you have a lot of waste colors around your shadows. But if you edit your picture perfectly, you can edit this effect in Lightroom only. You don't need Photoshop for special effects. No, your special effect is the opposite colors from the two color gels. And you have a very nice split light here. So you have a blue guy here, a red guy there, but also a red shadow and a blue shadow here. You have here a lot of color spill and also color blends. But if you pose your model here and he only wear a black suit and a black shirt, it will be more perfect than this one. But this one was a test for us, for you, so you can learn to create colorful shadows with opposite colors. Simple setup, two 18 speed lights with a red gel and a blue gel from Magmod. Same location, same boring location, and a 3 light setup. For this setup, we used a light for lit the groom here, a speed light for lit the bride from this side, and a speed light for creating a shadow effect on the wall. And we blend in this image some creative shadow techniques in one image. So this is the final image. What we did was use a color gel on the speed light at the left. We use a blue gel on the left. We use a blue gel on the left that creates a blue split light on our model. We used a full orange gel from the right, and we used a grid light for lit the groom, and we posed him in the shadow from this light. So this was not the final backstage image because we missed the gels here and there was no grid on it. Those flashes were bare at this moment, but with MagMod you are super fast and easy. So we pushed the MagGel orange on this speed light, and we pushed the MagGel blue on that speed light and a grid on that speed light, and that creates this final image. Not rocket science, a little bit color diffusion here, but a creative effect in a very boring room. So that's it for this lesson, and I see you in the next live lessons.